Welcome to another stage analysis video. It's Sunday the 13th of July 2025. As always, lots to get through in the weekend video. So going to start off this weekend with a look through the watchlist stocks. So actually before I get started, I've changed my microphone setup this week. So let me know if there's any problems with the audio quality at all. But hopefully it should be much improved. It's a far better setup. So anyway, getting back to this, OKLO is the first from the weekend watch list, which has come up a few times recently. Start to look at it again as it started to make the potential spring attempt through here. So it's continued consolidating sideways over the course of the last week, and then managed to close the last few days just back above its 21-day moving average. You can see very, very deep cup and handle did come off a long way. But it had a big run up into that in the first place, so over 70% back into the cup. So not your traditional cup and handle setup, but nevertheless is a high ATR mover, has a big average daily range as well. So it's in the recent bit, you can see it's actually started to tighten up from the ATR bars here, your +3 ATR level at the top, -3 ATR here. So you can see how that compared to this area here has tightened up significantly. So the consolidation has helped it calm down a bit, and it's now in a potential position to make a new attempt back towards the highs again. So although it doesn't look like much on the chart here, that's a good 30% move just back towards the highs there. So if we drop off down to a lower time frame, so the 195 to begin with, you can see the recent stage 2 run up on the intraday time frame through here, and then going sideways in stage 3 for a while. So the failed breakdown to stage 4 here, there was no real volume as it tried to attempt to move lower, and then it's consolidated and gone sideways. So a little bit of spring type action here, but we haven't seen any follow through to the upside yet. So we drop further down to a 30-minute chart here. Actually, it's dropped to a 2 hours, probably better. You can see from this time frame here, we've got a potential entry area for a stage 2 on this time frame. So let's see if it starts to push through this sort of 57. What's the number on that? 57.59 is the high in that area there. So say 58 starts to get a strong move up through this area on some strong relative volume, i.e. more than 3 times the average on this lower time frame. You want to see some big bars like these kind of bars coming in as it breaks out on lower time frames especially. So that would be a potential stage 2 on the lower time frame here. And we go back to the daily, that would put us up in it's 59.37 on the 1 ATR level, so somewhere up in this kind of area. So a little pop above the recent high. So it's a pullback entry in stage 2. That would be on a lower time frame stage 2 breakout. Come back to a weekly chart on this. You can see that, as I said, that cup, not so much your traditional cup, a really extreme pull, but it had a huge run up to this area through here. So we put the stages background on through here. You can see from the stages history, about 501% move back in the 2024 to March 2025 period, and then it's already had a 89% run in the recent move since it started to move back out into stage 2 again. So turn that back off again. See from its group, electronic utilities, the group itself is also near its all-time highs here. So consolidating in the sideways range in late stage 2. Did go sideways for a bit, but we made that stage 2 continuation move. So electric utilities, we click into that briefly. You can see pretty average overall in terms of technical health in the neutral 40 to 60% range at the moment, but percentage of stocks above their 30-week moving average above 70% at the moment. So you can see quite 46 stocks within that group there. So next up is RCAT. So I believe this is potentially from the drones group. So notable surge the other day. We did have, I think it might be in the same area as UMAC, which came up in the watch list earlier in the week, and then had a huge move on Friday. It popped almost 50% intraday and then settled at about 40% at the end of the day. So this also having a big run on Friday, plus 26.4%, and the largest volume of the recent quarter here. So we haven't had, that was the previous largest back in the end of 2025 there. So when it ran up this area through here. So coming out into early stage 2 through this area, did pull back in, bit of a deep backup, but didn't manage to break back below the 200-day moving average here. So you can see we had a moving average undercut and rally here on Thursday into Friday with that strong volume follow through. So again, we look at the weekly on this, you can see just starting to pull back, but it's had an exceptional run through 2024, similar to what we saw in, as I said, UMAC, which came up in the watch list the week. That also had a massive spike, so that one pushed through back into new stage 2 again on Friday as well. So RCAT looking interesting here, and again looking for a strong run with this big ATR mover for it to push its way higher back towards the previous highs again. AIRO, so this is a really new one, only came out on what was the day, 13th of June, so it's been in trading for less than a month now, exactly a month. So this is its first attempt to make a stage 2 breakout since the IPO day. So we had that initial pop and then it rolled over. So this is our first IPO advance phase potentially, which is the initial stage 2 run. So the initial stage 2 run from IPOs, when they've got decent volume, you can see 4.332 million shares on that on the day. So what's that in terms of dollar volume? So 4.332 times, where are we? 28.8. So 124,000 in terms of dollar volume. So really strong actual dollar volume on that one as it pushed up into its first stage 2 breakout attempt. So decent liquid IPO. So be looking for this to potentially follow through and push up towards the recent highs again. So dropping down to a lower time frame on this, maybe a 195 minute. And let's just make it a smaller chart. Doesn't make it much better than it is on the daily. So coming back, let's drop to 2 hour. Yeah, you can't really see too much because it's such a small amount of price action. So running up strong, but you can see the pop in the volume there again. If we take this out and take it down to a number of days, so 13 will do. Then you can see that a bit more clearly. I just wanted to highlight this surge in volume as it ran out into the new stage 2 breakout. So let's say it was consolidating underneath the average volume there and started to break out on some much stronger relative volume than it's seen since it listed. So AIRO is looking interesting at the moment.